In this Demon's Souls Remake build guide, I'm going to be covering my Dark Knight Ostrava build, which is a PvP build that does modest damage but has exceptional survivability, allowing for many mistakes while you learn the ins and outs of Demon's Souls PvP. If you're new to Demon's Souls PvP or you're just not very good at it, this might be the build for you. The Dark Knight Ostrava build uses the Rune Sword and Rune Shield made popular by none other than Ostrava of Boletaria himself. What's unique about these items, besides their appearance, is that they provide additional magic defense while in your hands. This provides you added protection against Mage players, those who use the Crescent Falchion early on, and even hosts that may be using Demonbrandt or the Large Sword of Moonlight. The Rune Sword overall is not a very good weapon for PvE, and as you get higher in soul level, its damage drops off significantly due to its lack of scaling. However, it can be very strong in the right hands at lower levels, which is where you'll aim to keep this build. The Rune Sword will deal roughly 237 damage per swing, with a whopping 205 of that being magic damage once it's been fully upgraded. That might not seem like a lot, but remember this is a straight sword we're talking about that has very good attack speed and consumes much less stamina per swing. Additionally, most low-level players will not have a good magic reduction shield, allowing you to deal decent chip damage should they attempt to block your attacks. Both the sword and shield come with the default plus 30 magic defense each, and as you upgrade them, the magic defense keeps on increasing as well to a total of plus 60 each. If you manage to upgrade both the sword and shield, you'll have an additional plus 120 magic defense, which almost negates the magic damage done by the Crescent Falchion entirely when combined with your armor. The starting class I chose for this build was Royalty because of its high magic stat, the fact that you need very little strength for this build, 12 to use the shield, and because it begins the game at soul level 1. You need to reach 18 magic in order to wield the Rune Sword effectively, and this also allows you to use magic early on in the game to help you get the items you need faster, because Soul Arrow is OP early on in PvE. You can use other classes if you wish, however, as it's not super important which you use. Although this is not a mage build, playing like one early on in the game can help you out if you're new to Demon's Souls. Soul Arrow can help assist you through the Boletarian Palace and Stonefang Tunnel, and you'll have a lot of good items that many early game mages would have, so you might as well use them. This is an excellent build to learn how to parry with, especially once you've obtained the fluted set and have decent armor. You'll be using a shield that parries, Rune Shield, and your armor will allow you to mistime many parries in both PvE and PvP and still live, so it's worth practicing even if you're terrible at it. You'll need to learn how to do this to win more PvP battles, so spend some time and get good. This build requires a fair bit of world tendency manipulation in order to obtain enough colorless Demon Souls to upgrade the Rune Sword to plus 5. While this might sound intimidating if you're not familiar with this mechanic, I will explain how this is done in a minute and the easiest way to do so that all you have to do is follow along without having to sort out how to do it on your own. Because this is a low-level build, you don't need to focus much on this area, but you'll need magic in order to use the Rune Sword effectively, some intelligence to cast some spells, and some vitality to help keep you alive when invading since your max HP will be lower from black character tendency. Your stat spread should look something like this. You'll need 12 strength to use the Rune Shield effectively. Endurance is not really needed for this build except for a point or two in order to keep your equip load at 50% or lower. You don't use a ton of stamina to swing your Rune Sword, so you can get away with lower endurance here. 14 intelligence will allow you to slot 2 spells, but you can go to 18 if you'd like another slot and more mana. This build performs less effectively the higher level you get beyond the soul level 25 or so try to keep it near this level if possible. In this section, we'll take a look at what equipment you'll need in order to play the Dark Knight Ostrava build effectively. Keep in mind that this will likely change some depending on what section of the game you're on, but this should serve to give you some idea of what setups you're looking for. Let's first take a look at early game. At the beginning of the game, you'll want to pick up and equip the Cling Ring as soon as you can to further increase your health in soul form. You'll be in soul form whenever you invade, so you'll need to keep this ring on or you'll have very low HP. Be sure to pick up the Ring of Giant Strength beneath the Blue Dragon in the Boletarian Palace because you'll need it in order to wear the fluted set. You won't be able to roll normally without it while using it, so this one is a must. A really good weapon to pick up early on is the Crescent Falchion in the Shrine of Storms. It takes almost no time to acquire and gives you a strong melee attack that deals magic damage. You should get this as soon as you can as it can really help out with Stonefang Tunnel and beyond, since most enemies there are weak to magic damage. You'll use this until you gain the Rune Sword. In the Tower of Latria, you'll find the Ring of Magical Sharpness, which will further boost your magic damage with spells. This is not a must-have ring for this build, but it can help out with the PvE sections of the game by making your spells stronger. Pick it up while you're here and use it if you want to. The fluted set is also located here in the Tower of Latria lying on a corpse. Since you started with the Royalty class, you'll need to pick this up, but disregard if you chose Knight. This will give you excellent defense, but it weighs quite a bit. Next, you'll need to acquire the Black Eye Stone from defeating the Black Phantom in front of the Fool's Idol boss. This is required to invade other players, and you can get it from other Black Phantoms in other worlds as well, but you might as well grab it while you're here. Once you've defeated the Fool's Idol boss, you'll be transported to Upper Latria, and from here your next goal will be to acquire the Rune Sword and Rune Shield. These can be acquired rather quickly by simply running past the gargoyles straight ahead and up the tower stairs on the left once inside. Drop over the edge near the top and loot them from the corpse there. You can now begin invading as Ostrava if you wish. Once you've gotten the previously mentioned things, you'll head to Stonefang Tunnel, and the first thing you'll do while there is unlock the lift to Blacksmith Edge so that you can upgrade the Rune Sword when you have some Colorless Demon Souls and the Searing Demon Soul. Next, you'll need to make your way through the Armor Spider and Flame Lurker in order to obtain the Searing Demon Soul, as Ed won't upgrade the Rune Sword without you having given him this. Use the Crescent Falchion and Soul Arrow to make this easier. You can even get Soul Ray if you freed Frake from Latria while you were there. As I mentioned, both the Rune Sword and the Rune Shield require Colorless Demon Souls in order to upgrade, though I strongly suggest you only worry about upgrading the Sword for this build, unless you have the fortitude to play through the entire game at very low level. You can only gain 10 Colorless Demon Souls per playthrough, and many of these require a lot of progress through the game in order to get. Here I'll explain to you how to get 5 easily so that you can upgrade your Sword, because you only gain magic defense from upgrading the Shield. Guard Break does not improve. The first 2 Colorless Demon Souls can be obtained by interacting with Sparkly the Crow. In order to do this, you need to be close to the nest, drop an item, and then quit and reload your game. If you did this correctly, you'll have a new item in its place. Sparkly is located in the Shrine of Storms, up on a hill near the left towers. Talisman of God. This is by far the easiest one to acquire since there is a Talisman of God laying not too far from Sparkly. Just pick it up and then drop it near Sparkly and reload. Gold Mask. This one takes a bit longer to get since you need to defeat the Fool's Idol boss and knock the Giant Heart down in Upper Latria in order to loot this item. This area can be quite difficult as you're keeping your soul level low and your damage will be modest at best when you get here, but you can run by many enemies easily, which does help out. Once you have the Gold Mask, do the same thing and drop it for Sparkly and reload. Each world spawns a Primeval Demon when it reaches Pure Black World Tendency, and when found and killed, it will drop a Colorless Demon Soul. There are a total of 5 Primeval Demons, but in this guide I'll be covering the 2 easiest to find based on where you will already be going to get the equipment for this build. If you want to know where they are all located, you can check the wiki for that information. World Tendency in Demon Souls is affected by a handful of things, but the 2 that will affect you most are killing bosses and dying in body form. Killing bosses will make your World Tendency shift toward white, and dying in body form will make it shift towards black. This is important to know because in order to reach the Primeval Demons, you need pure black tendency, and if you go around killing bosses, then it can be harder to achieve. The easiest way to achieve pure black tendency for this build is by invading players with a Black Eye Stone, defeating them, and regaining body form. Then just go die really quickly in the world you want to change to black tendency, and then repeat this process until it's pure black. You have to be in soul form to invade anyhow, so this saves you a trip to the Nexus as well. Stonefang Tunnel. The Primeval Demon is located just below the very first lift that takes you up to the miners who throw rocks at you. This is literally 30 seconds or less from the very first Archstone of this area, so it's super fast to get once you have pure black world tendency. Kill it and loot the Colorless Demon Soul. Upper Latria. The second Primeval Demon which you need to find and kill is in Upper Latria, and you should be familiar with this area already because you'll have to have been here to get the Gold Mask. It is located in the swamp area down one of the lifts, up on a cliffside guarded by 2 enemies. This is quite far from the Archstone, and it's easy to die here, so be careful. The last Colorless Demon Soul I'll help you find is not dropped by a Primeval Demon, but it does require World Tendency manipulation in order to achieve. However, it can be either pure white or pure black World Tendency to acquire. It's easier to get black World Tendency with this build because you'll be invading, so you should probably aim for that instead of white. At the very beginning of the Boletarian Palace, there is a gate on the left-hand side, down some steps which will unlock at pure white or pure black World Tendency. Head inside the gate and make your way inside the tower, and you can just run by the enemies here if you wish, and you need to head down the stairs and walk out across a beam and drop down. Laying on the beams will be a Colorless Demon Soul. If you did this in pure black World Tendency, watch out for Execution or Maralda, as she'll be guarding this area and is hard to kill. You can just run by her though, which is what I recommend. Final tips. Doing Patches the Hyenas quest in Stonefang Tunnel will net you a merchant in the Nexus that sells you very good grass. These are excellent to have when invading, and you'll have souls to spend since you're keeping your level low. Stock up on grass from him so that you never have to worry about running out of healing while invading. I love to use the Protection spell with this build because it further increases your physical defense, making you really only vulnerable to fire damage. However, you can even take the spell Water Veil to boost your fire resistance as well, making you really annoying to try to kill. Don't be afraid to block spells with this build if you need to, because the Rune Shield has excellent magic and fire reduction. It's not something I'd advise doing often, but it's definitely worth doing if there's no way around taking damage. Note that the guard break on the Rune Shield is very low, so I don't recommend blocking regular attacks that often, particularly not in PvP. The Gloom set works very well for this build also if you prefer to look a bit differently. It weighs about the same as the Fluted set, has almost identical protection, but has better resistances to status ailments like Poison, Bleed, and Plague. This can be acquired in Upper Latria by defeating Yurt. Lastly, learn the moveset with the Rune Sword because it has some really good attacks. The running R1 gets me a ton of easy hits, and the step back R1 surprises a lot of players because it has very good range and is very fast. Practice these moves when you can, and also learn to parry to really ensure your success. Stay tuned for more Demon Souls build guides as we explore just what kind of builds you can make, and be sure to check out the Demon Souls wiki if you have specific questions about the game. As always, you can watch our Demon Souls review and Getting Started guides if you would like to learn more about Demon Souls Remake.